Mo money, mo problems. That wasn't just an affliction for the notorious B.I.G. It's also crippling K through 12. Eva Moskowitz, the founder of Success Charter Schools in New York City and a Democrat, recently opined on the state of K through 12 government schools in America. She noted the U.S. spends nearly $800 billion per year, which works out to nearly $20,000 per child. The per-child number is more than every other developed nation not named Luxembourg, which has the population of Las Vegas. And so what do our high schoolers have to show for it? Well, we just shot past Belarus for 37th in the world in math. Look out, Hungary, we're coming for you. The absurdity would be comical if it wasn't so dire. Getting back to Moskowitz, in the last 50 years, we've increased spending on K through 12 by 244% in real dollars. We've reduced class sizes by 30%. Virtually every kid in school has an iPad or laptop. Graduation rates are higher and dropout rates are lower, yet we're 17th internationally in science and 12th in reading. In fact, about 1/5 of American 15-year-olds lack the reading skills expected of a 10-year-old. To pile on, post-COVID, only 25% of 8th graders are proficient in math and only 31% proficient in reading. Those numbers are both national and soon to be etched on America's tombstone if not addressed. In short, despite the universal understanding that earning a quality education is the key to unlocking the door of opportunity, what government schools in America are doing isn't working. Before we get to why, I can already hear the blame shifting from the teachers' union. It's the parents' fault. Yes, the disintegration of the American family is certainly a factor. Ironically, the same central planners who've ruined K through 12 education are proponents of the government policies that have incentivized the nuclear family crack-up. But I digress. Let's stipulate to the fact that parents have the greatest impact on their child's intellectual development so we can control for that and turn to other variables. We can't legislate a loving, engaged, two-parent family, but there are policy changes we can make that would improve educational outcomes regardless of a child's home dynamics. Let me lay out 3 areas: mastery of the material, the school day, and the school curricula. First, mastery of the material is a must. The soft bigotry of low expectations for minority students is no longer a source of bigotry since we've institutionalized low expectations across the board. Take Oregon, for example. The state of Oregon recently announced high school students will not have to prove basic mastery of reading, writing, and math to graduate from high school until at least 2029. No, this is not a Babylon Bee parody, but Vicki Lopez Sanchez could write for that site. Ms. Lopez Sanchez, a dean at Portland Community College, explained that Oregon schools would still be doing student assessments. They simply won't be using those assessments to determine whether or not a student should graduate high school. This is great preparation for that sales job in Unicornia, where you have quarterly sales goals, but your actual sales numbers won't be used to determine if you'll be staying with the company. Right. If you think the intellectual development of kids was stunted during the COVID lockdowns, tell the next 6 years of high school seniors not to concern themselves with reading, writing, and math. The only place they'll be able to get jobs is with the Oregon State Board of Education. One more case study. My home state of Illinois. Not just Chicago, but the entire state, which includes the wealthy suburbs and the downstate farming communities. The state's school report card was just released. Look at these graphs. Of the 1.85 million kids in Illinois' government schools, only 35% can read at grade level, and only 27% can do math at grade level, despite the state pumping another $6 billion into the schools in the last 3 years, to where Illinois currently spends $24,000 per student per year. Keep looking. The graduation rate is up to nearly 88%. And best yet, the teacher proficiency rate is 97%. So to repeat for emphasis, only 35% of the kids can read at grade level, only 27% can do math at grade level, but somehow almost everyone is graduating and virtually every teacher is allegedly doing a bang-up job. Second, have you noticed the year is not 1950? The government school establishment hasn't. We run the same school day we did 70 years ago, despite, as I mentioned, and we all know, family structure and family life is quite different today. In many families, both Ozzie and Harriet work, so Harriet isn't around to pick up the kids from school when it lets out at 3 p.m. This disconnect is even more pronounced and onerous for many single-parent households. Conversely, there is solid research suggesting that starting the school day 30 minutes to an hour later than most schools do presently will enhance students' academic success. Perhaps it's time to discuss fashioning the school day around the lives American families actually live in the 21st century and what we've discovered about how kids learn. Third, speaking of applying what we know to be true to how government schools are set up, let's address the curriculum. We've known for decades that kids best learn foreign languages by beginning the instruction in elementary school. Yet most government school systems don't begin foreign language courses, if at all, until junior high or high school. In fact, only 20% of American students in kindergarten through second grade take a foreign language. That's compared to 92% of their European counterparts. Why is that? One would think school superintendents and their retinue of assistant superintendents who spend all day calling each other doctor would make an evidence-based course correction. We've also known for decades that kids best learn science at the high school level in the following course sequence: physics first, then chemistry, then biology. So why do most high school freshmen start with biology? Again, one would think school superintendents and their retinue of assistant superintendents who spend all day calling each other doctor would make an evidence-based course correction. I'll tell you why they don't. Because it's inconvenient for the adults in the system and with whom the system is primarily concerned. Reordering schedules and reassigning teachers is a hassle. It could very well draw a complaint from the union. In the immortal words attributed to former American Federation for Teachers boss Al Shanker, quoting, "When school children start paying union dues, that's when I'll start representing school children." It's disputed as to whether Shanker actually said that, thus my description of that statement as being attributed to him. What is not in dispute, however, is that that is absolutely the attitude taken by a government school's power structure that will not act in furtherance of what they know to be true about how children best learn. I purposely left the matters of K-12 competition and leftist political indoctrination out of this discussion. Look, I've been a proponent of school choice ever since I read Milton Friedman's Free to Choose decades ago. And I've been an opponent of leftist political indoctrination for longer than that. But the reality is 90% of American kids are in government K-12 school systems. That's changing, but it won't overnight. The left is in charge of these schools, and that's not changing nearly as much. Therefore, we must try to render aid that has some chance of being accepted, lest we leave a supermajority of the 50 million kids in government K-12 schools unable to compete in the global marketplace, and America with them. This is Dan Proft with a counterculture commentary. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and please leave a comment in the comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts.